Hempstead Mustangs and the host, the 10th-ranked Cedar Falls Tigers. The Mustangs come into this game with a record of 23-10 on the season. It's been a successful week so far for Hempstead. They split a doubleheader with Cedar Rapids Prairie on Monday, losing the first game 14-8 before winning the nightcap 7-5. They then swept the doubleheader from Pleasant Valley on Tuesday, 8-1 and 11-4, and swept Waterloo West on the road on Wednesday, 14-3 and 18-2. The 4A 10th-ranked Tigers come into tonight's matchup with a record of 24-9 on the year so far. It's been a dominant week for the Tigers to this point. On Monday, they swept a road doubleheader from Dubuque Senior, 12-3 and 12-5. And on Tuesday, they traveled to 3A 10th-ranked Independence, winning 14-3. This is Game 2 of a varsity doubleheader here tonight. Moments ago in Game 1, Cedar Falls took down Dubuque Hempstead by a final score of 5-1. We're going to take a quick break to hear from some of our great sponsors. When we come back, we'll get you the starting lineups as well as everything you need to know ahead of the first pitch. Stay tuned. You're listening to the Cedar Falls Baseball pregame show on 1650 The Fan. Welcome back to the Cedar Falls Baseball pregame show here on 1650 The Fan. I'm David Warrington, and we've got Game 2 of tonight's varsity doubleheader in the Mississippi Valley Conference for you tonight. The Dubuque Hempstead Mustangs on the road taking on the 4A 10th-ranked Cedar Falls Tigers. Game 1 wrapped up several minutes ago, and it was a 5-1 Cedar Falls win. Had the Chicago Cubs on the air earlier today. Couldn't bring in Game 1 of this doubleheader because of the Cubs having the airtime, but we will have Game 2 for you. Cubs got a big win in Boston, against Boston in Chicago by a final of 6-5. So now let's take a look at tonight's starting lineups. First for the visitors, the Mustangs of Dubuque Hempstead High School. They are 23-10, coached by Jeffrey Rapp, assisted by Donald Perkle. Leading off, getting the start at first base, that's Cedar Falls lineup. Let's try that again. Here's a starting lineup for Dubuque Hempstead. Leading off, getting the start in left field is Kellen Strohmeyer, a senior batting .385 this season, 24 runs driven in, 9 doubles, a team-high 3 triples, and 4 home runs for Strohmeyer. Batting second, getting the start at shortstop is going to be Johnny Muring. Muring was the Game 1 starting pitcher. Had a pretty nice outing, threw the full 110 pitches before the pitch count ran out, but does get the loss. Had 5 runs allowed, not all of which were earned. I don't have the exact numbers, but there were a couple errors behind him. But Muring batting second and playing shortstop in Game 2. Muring, a junior, batting a team-best .446. Has driven in a team-high 37 runs, 10 doubles, 5 homers. Both of those lead the team as well. Batting third and catching is going to be Solon Munson. Munson is a junior, batting .308, 31 driven in, 7 doubles, 2 triples, and 3 home runs. Has also drawn 21 walks and gone down on strikes 23 times. Both of those are tops on the team. Batting cleanup, getting the start at second base for Hempstead is going to be Cole Swartz. Swartz, a senior, batting .435, 31 runs driven in, 7 doubles, and 3 home runs for Swartz, getting the start at second base in the cleanup spot. Batting fifth and playing first base for the Mustangs is going to be Nolan Schrader. Schrader is a senior, batting .272, 24 driven in, 4 doubles, has drawn 6 walks and gone down on strikes 15 times. Batting sixth, playing center field for the Mustangs is Justin Potts. Potts is a sophomore, batting .346, 9 RBIs, 5 doubles, and 2 triples for the sophomore. Batting seventh, getting the start on the bump for Dubuque Hempstead is going to be Lane Wells. Wells is a senior, batting .347, 21 RBIs, 2 doubles, a triple, and 4 home runs. On the mound this year, Wells is gone 29 2/3 innings. He's 4-1. ERA is 4.25, 20 strikeouts, 15 walks. He's making his 7th appearance and his 5th start this year. Batting eighth, getting the start at third base for the Mustangs is Anthony Houselog. Houselog did not see action in Game 1, but he is getting the start in Game 2. Houselog, a senior, batting .192, 7 driven in, and 1 home run. Houselog batting eighth, playing third base. And rounding things out for Dubuque Hempstead is going to be Brock Booth. Booth is getting the start in right field here for Game 2. Booth, a senior, batting .354, 16 RBIs, 5 doubles. It's a good bat to have in the bottom of the order for the Mustangs of Dubuque Hempstead. And now flipping over the lineup cards, here is the look at the starting lineup for the Cedar Falls Tigers. Tigers come in 24-9. They're ranked 10th in Class 4A. In the final poll released from the Iowa High School Baseball Coaches Association this past Monday, assistant coach for the Tigers is Parker Bolt. They're led by head coach Brett Williams. Leading off for Cedar Falls, getting the start at first base is going to be Ben Phillips. Phillips is a senior. He's batting a team best .434. He's driven in 34 runs. Team high 13 doubles, 1 triple. And he leads the team in home runs. He's got 6 of those this season. Has also drawn 27 walks compared to 20 strikeouts. Batting second, playing left field for this ball game is going to be Logan Rowe. Rowe is a sophomore, batting .315, 21 RBIs, 6 doubles, and 2 triples. Batting third, getting the start at second base for Cedar Falls is Colin Coonrat. Coonrat is a sophomore as well, batting .370, 35 driven in, 9 doubles, 3 triples, and 5 home runs. Plenty of extra base power in his bat, batting third, playing second base. Batting cleanup and playing shortstop for Cedar Falls is going to be Caleb Rasty. Rasty is a senior. He's batting .371 so far this season. He's driven in 36 runs, 9 doubles, and a couple of homers for Rasty. Batting fifth, getting the start behind the plate, doing the catching is going to be Shea Buskell. He got the win in Game 1. Had a complete game, 1-run outing. Very impressive on the mound. He'll be behind the plate in this game. Buskell is a junior, batting .286, 15 driven in, 4 doubles, 15 walks, 14 strikeouts as well for him. Batting sixth, getting the start on the mound is going to be Derek Woods. Woods is a junior, batting .333, 12 RBIs, 1 double, 4 walks, 7 strikeouts. Making just his 19th start of the season. On the mound, he's making just his second start, appearance number 4 in 7 2/3 innings of work. He is 0-1, ERA is 3.65. He's fanned 9 batters, and he's given up 2 free passes on the bump this year. Batting seventh for Cedar Falls, the designated hitter is going to be Logan Strasburg. Logan Strasburg this season, a .231 hitter, 13 driven in, 3 doubles, 14 walks, and 11 strikeouts. He'll be getting the start as the designated hitter batting seventh. Batting eighth, playing right field for Cedar Falls is going to be Cy Anderson. Anderson, a .423 hitter this year, 11 driven in, and 1 triple as well. He'll play right field and bat eighth. And batting ninth, playing center field for Cedar Falls is Max Steinlage. Steinlage, a senior, batting .217, 19 driven in, 4 doubles, a team-high 5 triples as well. Steinlage had a fantastic game out in center field in Game 1, and I see why he leads the team in triples. Very speedy player is Max Steinlage, leading off the bottom of the order, batting ninth for Cedar Falls. And last but not least, getting the start at third base for the Tigers. Not batting, but playing in the field is going to be Drew Greet. Greet, a junior, making just his 9th start of the season. Appearance number 21 this year for Drew Greet. Not batting, playing third base for the designated hitter Logan Strasburg. So one more time, your starters for Hempstead. Leading off in left is Strohmeyer. Batting second at short is Muring. Third, catching is Munson. Fourth at second is Swartz. Batting fifth at first is Schrader. Batting sixth in center is Potts. Batting seventh, pitching is Wells. Batting eighth at third is Houselog. And batting ninth in right is Booth. For the Tigers, leading off at first is Phillips. Batting second and left is Rowe. Batting third at second is Coonrat. Batting fourth at short, Rasty. Batting fifth, catching Buskell. Batting sixth, the pitcher is Woods. Batting seventh, the DH, Strasburg. Batting eighth and right, Anderson. Batting ninth in center, Steinlage. And getting the start at third base is going to be Greet for the Cedar Falls Tigers. So there are your lineups for both sides. The umpires have made their way out to home plate. Head coaches will be joining them shortly. We'll be good to go here in just a few moments. Taking a look at these teams last season, Dubuque Hempstead coming off a very successful year. They were 30-11 a year ago. They went 23-7 in the MVC, winning the Valley Division of the conference. And they made it all the way to the state tournament in Iowa City. On July 29th, they lost in the 4A quarterfinals to Johnston by a final of 11-5. Cedar Falls a season ago was just a few games under 500, 18 wins, 21 losses. They went 14-16 in the Mississippi Valley Conference, 6th place in the Mississippi Division. They were just a game away from state. They went to Cedar Rapids, where they lost to the Prairie Hawks by a final of 4-2 on July 21st in the 4A Sub-State Championship game. Last year, these teams met up in Dubuque at Hempstead. It was a split. Dubuque Hempstead won Game 1 by a final of 11-2. Cedar Falls took the nightcap by a final score 10-0. Dating back to 2009, Dubuque Hempstead leads this series 14-9. Longest winning streak was the Mustangs. They won 4 in a row from June 19th of 2017 until June 28th of 2019. Closest game and the largest blowout both took place on the same night 3 years ago on June 28th, 2019. Cedar Falls won 9-8 in the nightcap, but in the opener, Dubuque Hempstead won it by a couple of touchdowns. 15-1 was the final in that one. So both coaches just met with the umpires at home plate. Everything seems to be in order, and we should be good to go here in just a few moments. Cedar Falls Tigers wearing their home white uniforms. Tigers in red across the chest with a stripe underneath. Red numerals on the back as well. Red caps. Dubuque Hempstead wearing green jerseys with white and yellow trim. Gray pants. They've got an H for Hempstead over the chest. White numbers with yellow white numbers with yellow outline for Dubuque Hempstead. Now Cedar Falls takes the field, and we're going to be good to go here in just a few moments. One more time, here's your defensive alignment for the Cedar Falls Tigers. Left to right in the outfield, it goes Rowe, Steinlage, and Anderson. Tigers have Ben Phillips at first base. Second base is Colin Coonrat. They've got Drew Greet at third base. It's Caleb Rasty at shortstop. Starting battery for the Tigers. Shea Buskell's behind the plate doing the catching. And the game one starter for Cedar Falls is the junior, Derek Woods. Again, Derek Woods making just his second start of the season, appearance number 4. So far this season, he's worked 7 2/3 innings. He's 0-1. ERA is 3.65. 9 strikeouts and 2 walks for the junior. Leading off the ballgame for Dubuque Hempstead will be Kellen Strohmeyer. Muring and Munson follow him. Strohmeyer, very dangerous leadoff hitter. He's batting .385. He's got all sorts of extra base hits, 9 doubles, 3 triples, 4 home runs, total of 24 driven in. But even more dangerous is his speed on the base paths. He came in 17 of 18 on the season, and he was a perfect 2 of 2 in game 1. So he has swiped 19 bags this year on 20 attempts. Got to watch out for him if he gets on base in this ball game. Woods has completed his warm-up tosses. Buskell throws down to second base. And we're just about set to go here from Cedar Falls. Mississippi Valley Conference baseball for you tonight. Game 2 of this doubleheader. Tigers looking for the sweep. Mustangs trying to salvage a split in this twin bill. Strohmeyer digs in from the left side. Woods, a right-handed pitcher. First pitch is swung on, and that'll be a base hit to begin the ball game here at 7:21 p.m. As Rowe, the left fielder, fields it, but not before Strohmeyer safely aboard at first base. That's a base hit to begin the ball game. Strohmeyer is aboard, and like I said just a moment ago, very dangerous on the base paths. 19 of 20 in stolen bases this season. So that brings up Johnny Muring, the game 1 starting pitcher, took the loss. He digs in from the right side with a runner on first. Nobody out here in the top half of inning number 1. Woods with the pitch. That's going to miss outside for ball 1. Count is 1-0. Muring, a .446 hitter this season, 45 hits and 101 at-bats. That's best on the team. Has driven in a team-high 37 as well. 10 doubles, 5 home runs this year. Woods checks on Strohmeyer. Now with the pitch. Strohmeyer is in motion. The ball is hit into the air. Anderson's there in right field, makes the grab. He'll throw over to first base, and it's going to be a double play. Yes, Strohmeyer was running. The hit and run was on. Anderson makes the catch and throws over to first base. We've got 2 down. So the Mustangs run themselves out of the leadoff base runner they had. Now we've got 2 away, and that brings up the catcher. This is Solon Munson. Munson digging in from the left side. He pitched 1 out's worth of relief in game 1. He's getting to start behind the plate in this ball game. Watches the first pitch. It's well outside for a ball. 1 ball and no strikes. Munson, a .308 hitter this season, has driven in 31, 7 doubles, 2 triples, and 3 home runs on the year. Here's the 1-0 from Woods. That is in there for a called strike. Woods comes right back and evens it up, a ball and a strike. Woods looking towards his catcher, Buskell. Takes a sign. Here comes the pitch. Swing and a miss. There's strike 2. It's a ball and 2 strikes for the junior catcher, Solon Munson. Buskell gets the sign from the dugout. Woods into the windup. Here's the 1-2. That's outside. It's ball 2. And we're evened up again. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Woods taking his time here, now goes into the windup. 2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 3. And if you can call it that, it's a very unconventional 1-2-3 inning. The double play followed up by the strikeout. Get the Tigers out of the frame. We'll go to the bottom of the first. Tigers will bat right after this. Stay tuned. You're listening to Cedar Falls Baseball on 1650 The Fan. Phillips leading off the home half of the first for Cedar Falls. He digs in from the left side. First pitch is looked at, and it just misses for a ball. Lineup in the field for Dubuque Hempstead. Strohmeyer, Potts, and Booth are in the outfield left to right. As here comes the 1-0 pitch. That one's fouled back, and the count is evened up. It is 1 ball and 1 strike now for Phillips. Along the infield, they've got Schrader at first base, Swartz at second, Houselog at third, Meering is playing third base, Munson is catching, and Wells is on the mound doing the pitching for Dubuque Hempstead. That pitch is low. That's a ball. 2 balls and a strike. Wells is a senior righty on the year, making his 5th start, 29 2/3 innings pitched. He's 4-1. ERA is 4.25. As that pitch hit over to second base, Swartz is there. Fields makes a throw over to first base. It's in time. And that is the first out of the side. That'll bring up Logan Rowe for Cedar Falls. The sophomore striding up to the plate. Finishing up the stats on Wells, he has 20 strikeouts so far this season. He's given up 15 walks. Getting the start in game 2. Rowe batting from the right side. Watches the first pitch. It misses outside for a ball. So far this season, Rowe is a .315 hitter, 21 driven in with 6 doubles and 2 triples. Gets a good piece of that one into center field, and it is going to drop for a base hit. The center fielder, Potts, was a little bit too far back, couldn't quite get there. Could either lay out, potentially let it get behind him for some more trouble, instead just let it drop. And that is a base hit for Cedar Falls. Logan Rowe aboard. That brings up Colin Coonrat for the Tigers, batting from the left side. 1 on, 1 away here in the bottom of the first. Watches the first pitch. It just catches the outside corner of the zone for a called strike. No balls, 1 strike on Coonrat. Coonrat, a .370 hitter this year, 35 driven in, 9 doubles, 3 triples, and he's gone yard, 5 times this season. That one catches the zone as well. No balls and 2 strikes. Coonrat digging back in. Lefty on righty here. The lefty batter, the righty pitcher. Here's the 0-2. That's outside. That one misses. And that is ball 1. It's a beautiful night for baseball here in Cedar Falls. Currently 79 degrees. Not too much wind to speak of either. And no clouds in the sky. As that pitch is inside, throw over to first base is not in time, as Rowe is back in standing. And the count has been evened up. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes on Coonrat. Two count, 1 out. Here's the pitch. Looks like it's a foul tip back into the glove, and that's strike 3. Ball was fouled back. The catcher Munson held on. And we've got 2 away. Rowe remains at first base. And that brings up Caleb Rasty for Cedar Falls. Rasty, the shortstop, batting cleanup, hitting from the right side. Digs in with 2 outs. Runner on first base here in the bottom of the first. First pitch is well inside. Has to duck or else it would have taken him out. 1 ball, no strikes. Rasty hitting .371 this season. Driven in 36, 9 doubles, and a couple of home runs to his credit as well. Here's the 1-0. That one just misses. That's ball 2. Quickly, Rasty works ahead. 2 balls and no strikes on the pitcher, Wells. Wells gets set. Here's the pitch. Now it's behind the air, but it's going to get out of play for a foul ball. And that'll be strike 1. 2 balls, 1 strike now the count. Wells trying to make sure Rowe doesn't get any further than first base. Rowe had the base hit with 1 away. Rasty trying to continue the inning. Here's the pitch. Checks his swing. It misses. Throw over to first base is not in time. Rowe dives back in safely. Count is 3-1. Rowe is nearly perfect on stolen bases this year, 6 of 7, so I understand why Wells is keeping an eye on him. Now Wells comes set. 3 balls and 1 strike. Rowe is running. That pitch misses inside, and Rowe is safely into second base. I had the count as 3-1. That would have been ball 4. Clearly that was not correct. We'll assume the count is now full. Here comes a 3-2. That one's fouled back, and the count will stay full. Shea Buskell is on deck for Cedar Falls. Caleb Rasty, the batter. Swing and a miss. There's strike 3, and that'll retire the side. Rowe gets no further than second base, and we're scoreless through 1 inning of baseball here in Cedar Falls. Stay tuned. You're listening to Cedar Falls Baseball on 1650 The Fan. Both teams manage a hit, but that's it in the first inning. Dubuque Hempstead and Cedar Falls tied up at 0 as we begin the top of the second inning here from the Robinson Dresser Sports Complex. It'll be the cleanup hitter set to bat for Dubuque Hempstead. This is Cole Swartz. Swartz digging in from the right side, and Derek Woods, who threw 8 pitches in the first inning, gets set to begin the second. First pitch is going to miss. That's ball 1. Swartz is batting .435 this year, 40 hits and 92 at-bats, 31 RBIs, 7 doubles, and 3 home runs. Here's the 1-0. That one's looked at outside, and it's 2 balls, no strikes. Woods into the windup. Here's the 2-0. That pitch misses high out of the zone, and it is 3-0. 3 balls and no strikes to count. Swartz trying to draw a leadoff walk. Here's the 3-0 from Woods. That pitch just catches the outside zone. That's strike 1. 3 balls and 1 strike now the count. Woods trying to avoid losing Swartz here to begin the inning. 3-1 is hit into the air out towards right field. Anderson is there, settles underneath of it, and he makes the grab, and that's the first out of the side. Cy Anderson makes the catch out in right field, and we've got 1 away here in the top of the second. Digging in for Dubuque Hempstead is going to be Nolan Schrader, the senior first baseman, and he will bat from the left side. Woods with the pitch. That one's hit into center field. That's going to be a base hit. Steinlage quickly gets there and gets a hold of it. But Schrader liked the first pitch he saw and drives it into center field for a base knock.
Second hit of the game.
So Schrader aboard at second base. The batter will be Justin Potts for the Mustangs.
Center fielder number 17, Justin
Potts, another lefty for Dubuque Hempstead. Digs in against Woods. Here's the first pitch. That was chopped down the third baseline, but foul. Count is 0-1. Potts, a .346 hitter this year, 28 of 81, 9 driven in, 5 doubles, and 2 triples for the center fielder, Potts. Woods keeping an eye on Schrader, the first baseman, but he's at first base at the moment. That pitch is going to miss outside. That's ball 1. Count is evened up. It's a ball and a strike. 1 away here in the top of the second. We're scoreless between Dubuque Hempstead and Cedar Falls. Schrader at first base for the Mustangs. Here comes the 1-1. That one misses as well. It's 2 balls and a strike now. Wood steps back on. Potts digs in. Here's the pitch. That one's outside as well. It is 3 balls and a strike. After a foul ball to begin the inning, it's been 3 straight balls from the starting pitcher, Derek Woods. Count is 3-1. Here's the 3-1 pitch. That one's called for a strike. Potts thought he was heading down to first base. Instead, it will be a full count. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Justin Potts, the batter for Dubuque Hempstead. Here's the pitch. Runners in motion, and that'll be ball 4. Buskell is ready to throw down, but doesn't have to. As Schrader will be automatically awarded second base. Potts makes his way down to second. And there are 2 on for Dubuque Hempstead as the starting pitcher, Lane Wells, digs in for the Mustangs.
The pitcher, number 12, Lane.
Potts at first base, Schrader at second. Lane Wells digging in from the right side. Batting 7th for Dubuque Hempstead. Now Wood steps off. He'll regroup before this at-bat begins. And now Buskell's going to come from behind the plate and jog out to the pitcher's mound and have a quick conversation with his pitcher. Very brief conversation. Now Buskell makes his way back to his spot behind home plate. And we'll begin the at-bat. Lane Wells batting .347 so far this season. Has a couple runners on here. First pitch catches his own. Looked at for a called strike 1. Munson has driven in 21 runs this season. He's doubled twice, tripled once, and he's hit a home run 4 times. 0-1 count here. Woods with the delivery. Chopped down the third baseline. It's foul. Now no balls and 2 strikes for Wells. With a couple runners on, this will be a big spot for Woods to get a strikeout. Certainly that's got to be in his mind. Woods comes set. Here's the 0-2. That one's chopped right back to Woods, but over his head. It's fielded, tossed over to second base is in time. The second baseman, Coonrat, fields and tosses it just a couple feet to his shortstop, Rasty. Fielder's choice records the out at second base, and we've got 2 away here in the second. Runners on the corners.
Pitcher on first base.
So we got a courtesy runner over at first base, and now the batter is going to be Anthony Houselog.
In the top half of the second. And batting is the third baseman, number 9, Anthony Houselog.
So Anthony Houselog did not play in game 1, a 192 hitter this year, just 5 hits. 7 driven in, and he does have 1 home run to his credit. Now he steps off. Now Houselog digs in. Woods comes set. Now here's the pitch. That one misses, and that's a ball. Believe the courtesy runner at first base is Brody Ruffridge, a junior, making appearance number 28 this season. Used almost exclusively as a courtesy runner on the year. Here's the 1-0. That one's driven into center field. Steinlage's going back. Now he finds it, settles underneath of it, and that will retire the side. A couple runners reach, but no damage for Cedar Falls. We're still scoreless heading to the bottom of the second. Stay tuned. You're listening to Cedar Falls Baseball on 1650 The Fan. We're scoreless beginning the bottom half of inning number 2 here in Cedar Falls. Tigers no runs on 1 hit, no errors. Mustangs no runs on 2 hits, no errors. Tigers will go 5, 6, and 7 in the order as the catcher, Shea Buskell, will dig in for Cedar Falls to begin the frame. Lane Wells, the starting pitcher for Dubuque Hempstead, beginning his second inning of work through 18 pitches in inning number 1. Here's his 19th. That one is looked at, and it misses for a ball. Wells with the pitch. Swing and a miss. There's strike 1. Count is evened up. It's a ball and a strike. Buskell, a .286 hitter this season, 22 of 77. He's driven in 15 and 4 doubles on the year. Swings through that one as well. It's a ball and 2 strikes. Or correction, they must have called the first pitch of the at-bat a strike, as that will be the first out of the side on a swinging strikeout. So 1 away. Derek Woods digs in for the Tigers.
Pitcher number 5, Derek Woods.
Woods is the pitcher here in game 2, batting 6th. Watches that one outside. That's ball 1. 1 ball, no strikes. Woods making start number 19 this season, batting .333. He's driven in a dozen and has 1 double. Looks at that one in the dirt. After watching a couple of pitches, he's ahead 2-0. Woods batting from the right side. Wells, a right-handed pitcher, gives that one a ride out towards left center field. Potts is back, makes the catch out there in very deep center field, just a few feet ahead of the fence. And that is the second out of the side. So 2 down here in inning number 2, and that will bring up the 7th hitter in the order for Cedar Falls. This is Logan Strasburg. Strasburg was the catcher in game 1. He is not playing the field. He's the designated hitter here in game 2. First pitch is driven out towards center field. They're keeping Potts busy out there. This one isn't nearly as deep. And the catch is made. That retires aside. Very quick inning here in the bottom of the second. We're scoreless through 2 full. Dubuque Hempstead back up in the 3rd. Stay tuned. You're listening to Cedar Falls Baseball on 1650 The Fan. It's played 2 full here in Cedar Falls. We're scoreless between Dubuque Hempstead and the Tigers of Cedar Falls High School. 9-1-2 in the order due up for the Mustangs. And leading things off this inning will be Brock Booth. Booth, a senior, is playing right field here tonight and batting 9th. Woods with the pitch. That one's looked at, and it is a strike 1. No balls and a strike for Booth. Booth batting .354 this year, 16 RBIs, 5 doubles. Pretty dangerous bat in the 9th spot in the order. 0-1 pitch. Chopped down to third baseline and will stay fair, fielded by Greet. Long cross field throw. Gets there in time, and that's the first out of the side. Very strong throw. Gets Booth in plenty of time, and that's the first out. As back to the top of the order we go, Kellen Strohmeyer will dig in for Dubuque Hempstead. He led off the ball game in a big way. First pitch of the contest, he sent on a line into left field for a base hit. Strohmeyer, one of several Mustangs to bat from the left side. As here comes the first pitch from Woods. That one's in there for a called strike. Woods works ahead in this at-bat. No balls, 1 strike to begin. It was a 5-1 win in game 1 for Cedar Falls here in tonight's doubleheader. Tigers looking to make it a sweep. Here's the 0-1 pitch. That one's outside, ball 1. These teams came into tonight with identical records. Both were 23-9. Tigers now 24-9. Mustangs 23-10. 1 ball, 1 strike. Here's the pitch. That one's chopped high into the infield, and it's misplayed by Coonrat. And that will be a base hit for Dubuque Hempstead. Strohmeyer reaches. Very awkward play there for Coonrat. Couldn't make it. And we will call that a hit.
1-on-1 out.
As that will bring in Johnny Muring.
To the plate, the shortstop, number 13, Johnny Muring.
Muring digs in from the right side. He's 0 for 1 so far today. Speedy Strohmeyer over at first. Woods keeping a close eye on him. He'll throw over to first base. It's not in time. Strohmeyer dives back in safely. As I touched on, Strohmeyer 19 of 20 in stolen bases this season, but he was running on a hit and run earlier in this game that resulted in double plays. Running this time, it's a carbon copy of the first time. It's sent into right field, but that time it gets down for a base hit. And the ball is thrown somewhat wildly back into the infield, but it comes to the pitcher, Woods.
2-on-1 out.
So now runners on first and second after a couple of base hits. And Solon Munson will bat for the Mustangs, trying to break open this scoreless tie. Woods keeping an eye on the runners. Here's the pitch. That is outside. 1 ball, no strikes. Munson 0 for 1 in the day so far, at least for this game. He went down swinging in his first at-bat back in inning number 1. Woods comes set. Now he steps off. He'll regroup. Tigers ranked number 10 in Class 4A. That's via the Iowa High School Baseball Coaches Association poll released on Monday. That is the final poll for Classes 4A and 3A, as throw over to second base, nearly gets into center field, but Rasty jumps up and gets a glove on it to at least keep it from leaving the infield. Mustangs were among the teams receiving votes, but were not ranked. Tigers, number 10, as we get set for postseason play here shortly, coming up in the next week. 1-0 pitch. That was chopped foul down the first baseline. Count is now even. It's a ball and a strike. One down here in the top of the third. We're scoreless. Mustangs have a couple runners on. Muring is at first, and Strohmeyer is at second, with Solon Munson batting for Dubuque Hempstead. Woods takes his sign and comes set. Here's the pitch. That is inside, and that'll be ball two. 2 balls, 1 strike now, the count. Derek Woods with the pitch. That's in there for a called strike. And Woods has evened up the count. 2 balls and 2 strikes now, the count. Woods trying to keep the score where it is here in this scoreless game. Here's the 2-2. Strohmeyer is running. Throw over to third base is in time, and for just the second time this season, Strohmeyer is caught stealing. Great throw by the catcher, Shea Buskell. And the situation just got a lot better for Cedar Falls. Just 1 runner on, and now we've got 2 away. Count is full here. As Buskell makes the play, throw down to third base is in time. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Munson still the batter as Woods comes set. Payoff pitch. Swing and a miss. There's strike 3. And back-to-back plays result in outs. And we remain scoreless heading to the bottom of the third. Stay tuned. You're listening to Cedar Falls Baseball on 1650 The Fan. Still scoreless here in Cedar Falls through 2.5 innings of varsity baseball. Dubuque Hempstead and the Cedar Falls Tigers knotted up in a 0-0 ball game. 8-9-1 in the lineup due up for the Tigers. Cy Anderson will lead it off. He'll be followed by Steinlage, and then back to the top of the order with Phillips. Wells beginning his 3rd inning of work on the bump for the Mustangs. So far, he's given up just 1 hit, thrown 25 pitches. Cy Anderson digs in for the Tigers. Anderson coming to the plate for the first time in this ball game. Swings the first pitch, comes up empty. It's no balls and a strike. Anderson, a .423 hitter this year, entering play today, 11 of 26. Has driven in 11 and does have 1 triple. Watches the second pitch. It's in there for a called strike. Anderson falls behind 0-2. No balls, 2 strikes. Here's the pitch. That's in there for a called strike 3. Drop third, so throw down to first base for good measure, but that's the first out of the side. So Anderson goes down on 3 pitches to begin the inning. And we go to the bottom of the order with Max Steinlage for the Tigers, coming up for the first time in this ballgame. Steinlage had a double that scored a run in Game 1 earlier today. Now digs in for the first time, batting from the left side here in this contest. First pitch misses outside, and it's ball 1. Steinlage, a .217 hitter entering today's game. 19 driven in, now 5 doubles with the double in Game 1, and a team best 5 triples. Second pitch misses high and outside. It's quickly 2-0. Steinlage, the center fielder for Cedar Falls, had a great defensive game in Game 1. Swings through that one. 2 balls and a strike now, the count. There's one inning where all 3 outs were recorded via the fly out to center field, and Steinlage made a trio of very nice plays. Here's the 2-1. That one's called for a strike on the outside corner. Count is even, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Steinlage will look to protect now with 2 strikes against him. Here's the 2-2 from Wells. That's well outside of the zone. Count is full. It is 3 balls and 2 strikes for Steinlage. Steinlage digs in. Here comes the payoff pitch. That one's well outside as well. That's ball 4. And with 1 away, Steinlage draws a walk. And there will be a runner on and 1 out for the top of the Tigers' batting order. Next up is going to be Ben Phillips. Phillips 0 for 1 so far in this ball game. Digs in from the left side and does so with the speedy Max Steinlage aboard. He's 7 of 8 on stolen bases so far this year. Wells clearly knows the scouting report as he throws over to first base. Steinlage dives back in safely. Here's the first pitch. Looked at, and that one misses low and outside for a ball. Phillips, as I said, 0 for 1 so far. He grounded out to second base, leading off the home half of the first earlier in this contest. Here's the 1-0. Puts that one in the air, drive out towards right field, but is going to get out of play, and that is a foul ball. 1 ball and 1 strike now for the senior first baseman, Ben Phillips. Wells comes set, pitching from the stretch here with a runner on first. That one's driven well towards right field, but again, it is foul several feet to the right of the foul line, down the right field line. Now there's a couple of strikes against Phillips. 1 ball, 2 strikes to count. 1 away with Steinlage on first base here in the third. We're all tied up 0-0 between Dubuque, Hempstead, and Cedar Falls. Tigers trying to sweep this doubleheader. Here's the 1-2. That one's looked at but called on the outside corner. Phillips can't believe it. Cedar Falls crowd doesn't seem to like it either. That is a called strike 3 on the outside edge of the plate. And we've got 2 down. Logan Rowe to bat for Cedar Falls. The right-handed hitter digs in. But Steinlage still at first base, now 2 away here in the third. Rowe 1 for 1 so far in this ball game. Here's the first pitch. Steinlage is in motion. Throw down to first base, or second base, is a good one, but not good enough as Steinlage is in there safely. So now with 2 away, a runner in scoring position. Steinlage swipes his 8th base of the year on 9 attempts. And now he is at second base for Logan Rowe. Wells comes set. Here's the pitch. That one's driven out towards right field. Booth making his way back, settles underneath of it, and he makes a grab. That retires the side. So Steinlage will get no further than second base. We're still scoreless heading to inning number 4. Stay tuned. You're listening to Cedar Falls Baseball on 1650 The Fan. Grade 3 full from the Robinson Dresser Sports Complex, and we're all tied up 0 apiece. Dubuque, Hempstead, and Cedar Falls yet to put a run across the board. 4, 5, 6 in the batting order. Here in inning number 4 for the Mustangs, and Cole Swartz leads it off. Swartz, the cleanup hitter, watches that one outside for a ball. He's 0 for 1 so far in this game. He flew out to Cy Anderson in right field in his first trip to the plate. Here's the 1-0. That one misses high. It's ball 2. 2 balls, no strikes. Swartz, a senior. Second best batting average on the club entering play at .435. It's coming into today's doubleheader. 2-0 is swung through. That's a strike. 2 balls and 1 strike on the senior second baseman, Cole Swartz. Woods just threw pitch number 40. Has not given up a run yet. Here's the 2-1. That one's well behind the back of Cole Swartz, in fact. Nearly hit him, but just missed behind him. So it's ball 3. Three balls, 1 strike. Here's the pitch from Woods. That one misses just a bit high. That's ball 4, and it's a leadoff walk for Cole Swartz. Swartz, another player they'll have to keep an eye on. A perfect 7 of 7 on stolen bases this season. That'll bring up the 5th hitter in the lineup for Dubuque Hempstead, Nolan Schrader. Schrader batting from the left side. Nobody out. Swartz at first. Swartz, the generous lead over there at first. Woods keeping an eye on him. Comes set. Here's the pitch. Schrader checks his swing, and ball gets away from the catcher, Buskell. So Swartz moves up to second base. So Swartz is at second, still nobody out. Schrader looking to break open this scoreless ball game. Woods with the pitch. That one's weakly chopped back for a foul ball. 1 ball and 1 strike to count. Umpire walks out a few feet in front of home plate, hands a new baseball to Woods. Woods steps back on. Again, Woods making just his 2nd start of the season here in Game 2 of this Mississippi Valley Conference doubleheader. Woods with the pitch. That's in there for a called strike. It is 1 ball and 2 strikes. Woods looking to get the first out of the side. Comes set, still keeping an eye on Swartz there at second. Here's the 1-2. Swing and a miss, but it gets away. Buskell trying to get there. Throw over to first base is just in time. Beat him by about half a step. Schrader nearly reached despite the strikeout. But instead we've got 1 away. Swartz did move up to third base on the play, however. 1 out, runner on third. For the batter, this is Potts for Dubuque Hempstead. So Justin Potts digs in. Go ahead run just 90 feet away. Here's the pitch from Woods. It's in there for a called strike. Potts did not record an official at-bat his first time up after drawing a walk. Officially is 0 for 0 in this ballgame. Woods steps on. Here's the 0-1. That was chopped down the third base line, but it's going to go foul. Not by much, but it did go foul down that third base line. Count is 0-2. Potts will try to regroup. Woods looking to get this out, preferably via the strikeout. But he'll take it any way he can get it. Trying to avoid having Swartz come in and give the Dubuque Hempstead the lead. Here's the 0-2. Swing and a miss. That's a very big strikeout for Derek Woods. We've got 2 away. And now Woods and the rest of the Tigers can get out of this inning with just 1 pitch. Lane Wells digs in, trying to help his own cause. Wells, the starting pitcher for Dubuque Hempstead, comes up with the go-ahead run just 90 feet away. Wells 0 for 1 so far in this game. Woods steps on. Here's the pitch. That one just misses. Not a bad spot, but it's a ball. 1 ball and no strikes. As I said, Wells 0 for 1. Grounded into a fielder's choice over at second base. Coonrat through to Rasty to get the lead runner on that play. Here's the 1-0. That one's popped high in the air. If it stays in play, this would end the inning. Buskell is there, slides. Did he hold on? That's a fantastic catch by Shea Buskell, sliding. Hits the dirt, but he makes the play, and that retires the side. So the run from third does not score, and we're scoreless heading to the bottom of the 4th. Stay tuned. You're listening to Cedar Falls Baseball on 1650 The Fan. After a phenomenal play to end the inning by the Cedar Falls catcher, Shea Buskell, we remain scoreless as we begin the bottom half of inning number 4 here from Robinson Dresser. It'll be 3, 4, and 5 in the order, and the left-handed batter, Colin Coonrat, digs in to begin the side. Swings through the first one. That's a strike. No balls, 1 strike for Coonrat. Coonrat 0 for 1 so far in the ballgame. He went down swinging his first trip to the plate back in inning number 1. That pitch is going to miss. Count is evened up. It's a ball and a strike. The cleanup hitter, Racy, will bat next, followed by Buskell, who made that phenomenal catch to end the previous inning. Right now, Coonrat, the batter, puts a pretty good drive into that one out towards deep right center. But the play is going to be made out there by Potts, and that is the first out of the side. Tigers have been making good contact here in this ball game, but only 1 hit to show for it. As this will bring up the cleanup hitter for Cedar Falls. This is Caleb Rasty. The senior shortstop digs in. Nobody on, 1 away here in the bottom of the 4th. Scoreless ball game between Dubuque Hempstead and Cedar Falls. Lets the first one go, but it's in there for a called strike. Rasty's 0 for 1. He went down swinging in his prior trip to the plate. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Swing and a miss. There's strike two. Quickly, Rasty fall behinds. No balls, 2 strikes. Wells is throwing well for Dubuque Hempstead. He's thrown 45 pitches, only given up the 1 hit. That one misses well outside of the zone for a ball. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Tigers managed a base hit back in inning number 1, but nothing since. That one's chopped into the air. Looks like it is going to go out of play. Just past the Dubuque Hempstead dugout on the right side of the field. Foul ball, and the count stays at 1-2. Racy trying to jolt this Cedar Falls offense. Here's the 1-2. That one's popped into the air, but not very deep. Booth, the right fielder, calls off his center fielder Potts, makes the grab, and that is the second out of the side. So 2 up, 2 down here in the bottom of the 4th, and Shea Buskell, as I said, made that great play to end the previous frame, digs in for the Tigers. Buskell, the catcher, he was the winning pitcher, the only pitcher Cedar Falls used in Game 1, is behind the plate in Game 2. Here's the first pitch. That one's popped into the air. Looks like it's going to stay in play. Schrader is there in foul ground, and he drops it. Schrader drops what would have ended the side, and this inning will continue. So Schrader drops that one in foul ground. So it's just a foul ball. Count is 0-1. That pitch is in the dirt. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. Here's the 1-1. That one's chopped foul down the third baseline. It's a ball and 2 strikes now. Buskell trying to stay alive here. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Here comes the pitch. Holds off, and it just misses. That's ball 2. Count is evened up. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Two-two pitch from Wells. That one's popped high into the air. Trying to figure out who's going to make the grab, and the answer is nobody, as that's a foul ball. The third baseman Houselog, the catcher Munson, and Wells, the pitcher, all stare at each other as the ball lands on the ground. Fortunately for the Mustangs, just to the left of the third base foul line. So twice now this inning, a play should have been made, but was not by the Mustangs. And Buskell continues to get new life in this at-bat. We'll see if he can take advantage of it. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 away. Here's the pitch from Wells. That one's weakly hit high into the air, and this time the play is made. The catcher, Wells, makes the grab, defiantly throws the ball behind him, loses his hat in the process, and that will retire the side. Played 4 full here in Cedar Falls, and we have yet to score. We're scoreless heading to the 5th. Stay tuned. You're listening to Cedar Falls Baseball on 1650 The Fan. We are scoreless through 4 innings of baseball here from the Robinson Dresser Sports Complex. The Cedar Falls Tigers ranked 10th in Class 4A in a scoreless tie with the Mustangs of Dubuque Hempstead. Only 1 hit so far in this ball game for Cedar Falls. Came back in inning number 1. Dubuque Hempstead has strung out 4 hits, but have not been able to cross the plate. They've gotten a runner as far as third, but no farther. 8-9-1 in the order for Dubuque Hempstead this inning. Houselog will lead it off. Following him will be Booth and Strohmeyer. And Derek Woods now begins his 5th inning of work on the bump.
Third baseman number 9, Anthony Houselog.
Anthony Houselog digs in, and we're set to begin inning number 5. First pitch from Woods is hit over to shortstop. Rasty's there. He fields, transfers over to his hand, and makes the throw. And we've got 1 away. 1 pitch is enough to get 1 out. Rasty connects with Phillips on the ground out. So bottom of the order we go, as this will be Brock Booth digging in for Dubuque Hempstead. He's 0 for 1 so far in this ball game. That's with the base is empty, 1 away here in the 5th. Woods with the pitch. That pitch misses low in the dirt. It's ball 1. 1 ball, no strikes. So far in this contest, Booth in his 1 at bat. Grounded out to Grady at third base. Comes in 0 for 1. That one's hit high into the air, but not very deep. Coonrat's going to go into very shallow right field and make the grab. He does, right in front of the right fielder, Cy Anderson. And that's the second out of the side. So 3 pitches, gets 2 outs here to begin the inning. And we've got 2 down. Back to the top of the order we go as Kellen Strohmeyer digs in. He has half of the offense so far in this ball game for Dubuque Hempstead. He's 2 for 2. Here comes the pitch. That's in the dirt, and it's a ball. So far in this contest, Strohmeyer sent a liner into left, and then he reached on an infield single. Comes in with a perfect 2 for 2 line in this ball game. That one's driven into center field. Be a tough play for Steinlage, and he's not going to make the play. It gets to the wall in left center. That'll be at least a double. They're having some trouble with it. Strohmeyer's going for third, and he's going to be in there well ahead of the throw. That is a 2-out triple for Kellen Strohmeyer, his 4th of the season. That's best on the team. And he's got his 3rd hit of the ball game, and it was a big one. He now stands just 90 feet away from giving his club the lead. Johnny Muring will try to bring him in. He's 1 for 2 so far today. Bats in a big spot. Hit number 5 on the day for Hempstead. 3 of them have been from Strohmeyer. Having a great ball game. Woods with the pitch. That's in there for a called strike. Great movement on that pitch from Derek Woods. And it catches the zone for a called strike 1. Muring got his base hit in his previous at-bat. Sent one out to right field. Here's the 0-1. That's in the dirt. Nearly gets away. Great job by Buskell from keeping it in front. And that just saved a run. It's a ball and a strike. Woods goes back onto the mound and steps on. 1 ball, 1 strike, 2 away. Strohmeyer on third base in this scoreless game. Here's the 1-1. That's high and inside for ball 2. 2 balls, 1 strike now the count. Woods trying to get out of the inning. With smooth sailing until that triple by Strohmeyer. All of a sudden finds himself in a jam. That pitch just misses. It's ball 3. 3 balls and 1 strike for Johnny Muring. Muring was the losing pitcher in game 1. Pitched well, but not well enough to win. Now bats in a 3-1 count. Woods comes set. Here's the 3-1. It's tipped back into the catcher's glove. That's strike 2 on the foul ball. With 2 strikes, it would have ended the inning. But with just the 1 strike, it just brings our count full. Huge pitch coming up. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Woods trying to end the threat. He comes set. And here's the payoff pitch. That's high out of the zone for ball 4. Muring draws the walk, and we've got runners on the corners for Dubuque Hempstead. Still 2 away. That brings up Solon Munson, the 3rd hitter in the order to bat for the Mustangs. Munson, who bats from the left side against the righty pitcher Derek Woods, is 0 for 2 so far today. Muring at first, Strohmeyer at third. Woods with the pitch. Swing and a miss. There's strike 1. Munson 0 for 2. He's gone down swinging both times so far. Quickly falls behind 0-1 as Buskell calls time, and he jogs out to have a quick chat with his pitcher. Just making sure they're on the same page here. Quick conversation. It's already over. And Buskell jogs back to home plate. No balls and a strike for Solon Munson. Runners on the corners. 2 away in this scoreless game. Woods trying to keep it there. Munson trying to blow it open. Comes set. Here's the 0-1. That one's lined into center field. Steinlage trying to get there. He can't get there in time. That's a base hit. And Dubuque Hempstead puts the first run of the ball game on the board. It's 1-0. Mustangs strike first here in the top of the 5th. So Munson gets the RBI. Strohmeyer, who had that 2-out triple, comes in to score. It's 1-0 Dubuque Hempstead. Cleanup hitter Cole Swartz will bat for Dubuque Hempstead. Munson's at first, Muring at second. Still 2 down here in the top of the 5th. Swartz 0 for 1 so far in game 2 of this doubleheader. Mustangs trying to salvage a split. As here's the pitch. That one's popped high into the air, but it will stay in the infield. Rasty is there, just back onto the grass, and he makes the grab. That retires aside, but not before Dubuque Hempstead strikes first. They lead it 1-0 as we head to the bottom of the 5th. Stay tuned. You're listening to Cedar Falls Baseball on 1650 The Fan. Dubuque Hempstead strikes first in the top half of the 5th. Cedar Falls will try to respond here in the bottom half of the inning. They go 6, 7, 8 in the order, and the pitcher, Derek Woods, digs in first. Tigers have just 1 hit so far in this ballgame. They'll try to get the offense going here. First pitch misses low for a ball. It's quickly 1-0. Woods 0 for 1 in the game so far. He flew out 2 pots out there in center field. His first time up. Here's the 1-0 from Wells. That's outside of the zone. Count is 2 balls, no strikes. Wells throwing a very efficient, well-pitched ball game so far. That was pitch number 56. Here comes 57. That's in there for a called strike. 2 balls and a strike on the junior pitcher, Derek Woods, batting from the right side. Woods digs in and Wells steps on. Here comes the 2-1. That's low and outside for ball 3. 3 balls, 1 strike. Woods trying to draw the leadoff walk. Strasburg is on deck, and Anderson is due up after him here in inning number 5. Here's the 3-1. That one's called for a strike. Looks low, but the umpire calls it for a strike, so the count is full. It is 3 balls and 2 strikes. Woods trying to get on here to begin the inning. Here's the payoff pitch. That one's sharply hit, but it's fielded over at shortstop by Muring. His throw is in time. Great play by the shortstop, Johnny Muring. And that's the first out of the side. So 1 out. Woods hit it well, but it was just close enough to Muring for him to make the play. And we've got 1 down for the designated hitter. This is Logan Strasburg digging in for the Tigers. He's 0 for 1 so far in this contest. Watches the first pitch. It's inside to the point where he had to move out of the way. Otherwise, it would have caught him. It's a ball and no strikes. Strasburg, like Woods before him, flew out to center field in his first time up to the plate. Here's the 1-0. That's in there for a called strike. Good spot on that pitch by Wells. 1 ball and 1 strike. Here's the 1-1. That was sharply hit but foul down the left field line. Strasburg got a good piece of that baseball, but just goes to the left of the foul line. It's a ball and 2 strikes. Strasburg's clearly on it. They'll have to keep it fair. Try to get a base hit. Here's the 1-2 from Wells. That's in the dirt. Gets to the backstop. That's ball 2. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes. 1 away, nobody on here in the bottom of the 5th. Strasburg digs in again. Here comes the 2-2 delivery from Wells. That's outside as well. Count is full. For the second time in a row this inning, we've got a full count. It's 3 balls and 2 strikes. Strasburg, the senior designated hitter in this contest, trying to get on. 3-2 pitch. That one's low in the dirt, ball 4. And with 1 away, Strasburg draws a walk. He jogs down to first base. Cy Anderson will dig in for Cedar Falls, the right fielder, batting with 1 on and 1 away. Trying to get the offense going for his club. Strasburg getting a fairly healthy lead over there at first base. Here's the pitch. That one's driven into right field, but Booth does not have to hardly move at all as he makes the grab. Fairly well hit ball, but right at Booth out there in right, and that's the second out of the side. Max Steinlage digs in for the Tigers. 0 for 0 so far in this game after drawing a walk the first time up. Steinlage, the left-handed hitter, digs in. 2 outs. Strasburg at first. Cedar Falls down 1-0. Here's the first pitch. Strasburg is running. That one's popped high into the air. It's in foul territory, but I think it's going to stay in play. And the play is not made. The catcher, Solon Munson, had some trouble tracking it. And it falls harmlessly to the ground for a foul ball. Mustangs have had some adventures on foul balls, to say the least, so far. And that one falls for a foul ball. It's no balls and a strike. Steinlage taking his time. Now he'll dig in. Pitch number 69 coming up from Wells. His pitch count is fairly good for where he is in the game. Strasburg's running, and that's going to be an out on the base path. Strasburg caught stealing second base, and that retires the side. So nothing across for Cedar Falls. It's 1-0 Dubuque Hempstead through 5 full. Stay tuned. You're listening to Cedar Falls Baseball on 1650 The Fan. We've played 5 full between Dubuque Hempstead and Cedar Falls, and the Mustangs lead the Tigers by a score of 1-0 in the top half of the 5th. Strohmeyer had that triple and later scored. That's been the difference so far. As the first pitch from Schrader is over to shortstop, but that's an error as Rasty throws it away, and Schrader's going to make it to second base on the play. So first error of the day from the Tigers comes at a poor time, as that'll put a runner on second. Looks like there's going to be a courtesy runner out there. Or correction, that is a pinch runner, as Schrader is the first baseman, does not get a courtesy runner, so this will be a pinch runner.
Pinch runner on the second.
This is Andrew Tharp. Tharp making his 14th appearance of the year, has not started the ball game, and he will run at second base. Tharp 0 for 2 on stolen bases this year. The batter is Justin Potts for Dubuque Hempstead. That pitch is outside. That's ball 1. 1 ball, no strikes. Woods keeping an eye on Tharp. Now comes set. And here's the 1-0 pitch. That one swung at, swing and a miss. There's strike 1. Count as a ball and a strike. Of course, despite Schrader leaving the ball game here, he can still return. You get 1 re-entry. And I would assume we will see Schrader back at first base when they come back out for defense in the bottom of the inning. That one's hit into the air. That's going to get down for a base hit. Tharp is being held up at third base. Dubuque Hempstead coach Jeffrey Rapp thought about it for a long time, waited until Tharp was all the way to the bag, but does ultimately give him the sign to hold up and stay put. Runners on the corners after the single from Potts. As Dubuque Hempstead trying to add on to their lead. The batter will be Lane Wells. The pitcher for Dubuque Hempstead trying to help his own cause here. Potts at first, Tharp at third. Nobody out. Here's the first pitch. That one's high out of the zone for a ball. It's 1-0. Wells is 0 for 2 so far. Grounded into a fielder's choice, and later he popped out to Buskell, the catcher, in foul ground, and that very impressive play at the end of the inning a couple innings ago. Here's the 1-0. Swing and a miss. There's a strike. Something of a half-hearted swing there from Wells, but he did not hold up nearly in time. So it's a ball and a strike. Woods taking his time here, keeping an eye on both runners. Now he comes set. 1 ball, 1 strike to count for Wells. Runner is in motion. That pitch misses for a ball. Throw back from Buskell. It's more trying to bait Tharp to run home than anything. Wasn't really trying to get Potts over there at second base. Count is 2-1. And there's now 2 runners in scoring position with nobody out for Dubuque Hempstead. Woods comes set. Here's the 2-1. That one's sent into center field. Back towards the wall. It's hit a long way. It's way out there. And that one lands just in front of the fence. That'll score a couple. Nearly a home run, just a couple feet away on that one from Wells. It does score 2. And it's a 3-0 lead for the Mustangs. 2 RBIs on the double for Lane Wells. The pitcher adds some insurance. And we've got timeout called as assistant coach for Cedar Falls, Parker Bolt, is going to head out there and have a quick chat with his pitcher. The entire infield's in there on the mound. 3-0 our score now, and the pitcher, Wells, is at second base, though I believe they have a courtesy runner. I think that is Brody Ruffridge out there. So Ruffridge will be running the bases for the Mustangs, and Houselog is due up next. Anthony Houselog, a senior for the Mustangs. He's playing third base here in this contest. And he will bat with runner on second, nobody out. His team leading at 3-0.
Anthony Houselog.
Woods comes set. First pitch to the at-bat upcoming. Here it is. That one's hit on a line into left field. That'll be a base hit. And Ruffridge is held up right there at third base. Runners on the corners. Has been a rough sixth inning so far for Woods. Was very good through his first 5 innings. He's given up a few hits in a row here. The Tigers trail at 3-0.
2 on, no outs.
Brock Booth will bat for Dubuque Hempstead. Digging in with runners on the corner. Still nobody out here in the 6th. Woods with the pitch. Squares the bunt. It's a high bounce. Buskell Fields throws over to first base. It's in time. But the run from third base will score. Great base running from Ruffridge as he comes in to score on the play. Give Booth the RBI. So now 1 away, but the run does come in to score, and Houselog advances to second base. 4-0, and Kellen Strohmeyer digs in for the Mustangs. He's 3 for 3 so far in this game, including last time he had the triple into left center field. Strohmeyer, a left-handed hitter and a very speedy runner for the Mustangs. First pitch is on a line, and that's going to be a double play. No, the tag was missed, but Rasty did make the catch, caught the line drive, could not quite get the inning-ending double play. Certainly wasn't for a lack of effort. Gave a diving effort to try to get Houselog. Nonetheless, play is made, and that's the second out of the side. Tigers trying to get out of this without any further damage. Johnny Muring, the leading player for the Mustangs in average, RBIs, doubles, and homers. We'll try to say something about that. Woods gets set, and here's the pitch. Now when Weekly chopped back just a couple of inches for a foul ball. No balls and a strike. As the throw back gets away from Woods. But Houselog has no intentions of going anywhere on that, as Woods picks it up and makes his way back to the mound. 2 down here in inning number 6. Tigers trailing at 4-0. Houselog at second, and Muring is the batter. That pitch just misses outside for a ball. 1 ball and 1 strike. Muring 1 for 2 on the day so far. He flew into a double play back in the first inning, then he singled to right field and walked. Woods getting set to deliver the 1-1 pitch. Here it is. That one's sent over to shortstop. Rasty Fields takes his time. Throw over to first base is in time. And that retires a side, but not before 3 runs are put on the board by the Mustangs. They lead at 4-0 as we head to the 6th, or to the bottom of the 6th, excuse me. Stay tuned. You're listening to Cedar Falls Baseball on 1650 The Fan. It's 4-0 Dubuque Hempstead here in the bottom half of the 6th. Tigers down to 6 outs to try to make up the 4-run deficit. 9-1-2 will bat for the Tigers in this inning. Steinlage, who was at bat when the inning was ended on the base paths last time, will lead it off, and he's followed by Phillips and Rowe. Steinlage comes up to the plate.
Batting for the Tigers, center fielder number 14.
Was walked in his first trip to the plate earlier in the contest, and as I said, came up last time, but had his at-bat ended via an out on the base paths. Wells beginning his 6th inning, and it's been a good 5 innings so far. He's given up just 1 hit. First pitch is low. That's ball 1. Steinlage, a .217 hitter entering play today. He's driven in 19 runs. As the 1-0 pitch is chopped foul down the first baseline. 1 ball and 1 strike now the count. Steinlage, a senior, is the center fielder for Cedar Falls as he digs in. Here's the 1-1. Swing and a miss, that's strike 2. Steinlage will have to protect here. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Here's the 1-2. Now it's high into the air and out of play. That's a foul ball. Over towards the softball diamond here at the Robinson Dresser Sports Complex. Count is 1 ball, 2 strikes. Here's the 1-2. Now it's looked at and it's a called strike 3. And that's the first out of the side. We go back to the top of the order now as Ben Phillips strides in from the on-deck circle, and he'll dig in for the Tigers. 4-0 Dubuque Hempstead lead as Phillips digs in. He's 0 for 2 so far in this game. Here's the first pitch. Watches it, and it's in there for a called strike. Phillips grounded out to second base, and then he went down looking in his previous trip up there. Now here comes the 0-1. That's well out of the zone. Pitch on the outside corner. It's a ball and a strike. Here's the 1-1. That's well inside. In fact, it caught Phillips. So Phillips will reach on the hit by pitch. He jogs down to first base. And a runner is on for Cedar Falls.
Man on the base paths, with 1 out.
So that brings up Logan Rowe for Cedar Falls.
Left fielder number 3, Logan Rowe.
Rowe is 1 for 2 so far this game, and he's in fact the only Tiger to manage a base hit. That came all the way back in inning number 1. Rowe trying to get something going here for the Tigers. As here's the first pitch. Now it's hit into the air, and it's going to get out of play for a foul ball. No balls and a strike. Rowe lined one into center field back in the first inning for the lone Tiger hit so far. Then he flew out to right field in his second at-bat. No balls and a strike. Here's the pitch from Wells. That one's low. That's ball 1. 1 ball, 1 strike for Logan Rowe. Here's the 1-1. That's outside. It's ball 2. 2 balls and a strike. Phillips getting his lead over there at first. Here's the pitch. That one just misses. Not a bad spot from Wells, but it is a ball. 3 balls and 1 strike for Logan Rowe. Here's the 3-1. That's in there for a called strike, and the count is full. It's 3 balls and 2 strikes for the sophomore playing left field here in this game, Logan Rowe. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Here's the pitch. Now it's hit high into the air. It's going to go into foul ground. It's going to be a tough play, and the play cannot be made as Munson, the catcher, makes a diving attempt but can't make the grab. And the count stays where it was. It's still full, 3-2. Mustangs have not had the best of luck so far in this game on balls hit into the air and foul ground. Good effort on that play by Munson, but he couldn't make the sliding catch. Three balls, 2 strikes remains the count for Rowe. Phillips is at first. Tigers trying to get some more base runners here. Down to 5 outs. Here's the 3-2. That one's outside, ball 4. Great at bat from Rowe. He draws the walk. Now a couple runners are on for the Tigers. That'll bring up Colin Coonrat for Cedar Falls. The lefty digs in, but not before Solon Munson will jog out and have a quick chat with his pitcher, Lane Wells. Just a brief conversation, and now Munson jogs back behind home plate. And Coonrat will begin his at-bat. Coonrat 0 for 2 so far in this game. Bats with runners on first and second, one away. His team trailing at 4-0. First pitch is driven sharply into right field, but it's a foul ball. Well hit ball from Coonrat, but it is foul. It's no balls and a strike. That was pitch number 85 from Wells. You're allowed up to 110. Coonrat briefly steps out, now digs back in. Here's the 0-1. That one's high out of the zone for a ball. It's a ball and a strike for Colin Coonrat. One ball, one strike. Here's the pitch. That's out of the zone as well. Touch high and a bit outside. It's 2-1. Coonrat digs back in. Coonrat gets set. Here's the 2-1. That one misses as well. That one's low. It's 3 balls and a strike. The cleanup hitter, Rasty, is on deck for Cedar Falls. 3 balls and a strike for Coonrat. Here's the pitch. That one's low as well, a bit inside. Ball 4, and the bases are loaded. And the tying run is at the plate for the Tigers. Caleb Rasty will dig in. And we've got a timeout on the field. As I believe that is Donald Perkle, assistant coach for Dubuque Hempstead, making his way out there. So I don't think we're going to see a pitching change, but could be mistaken. The entire infield is on the mound for the Mustangs, and they're having a brief chat. It's a very impressive outing so far by Lane Wells. Here's a look at his line. In 5 1/3 innings, he's given up just 1 hit, no runs, 4 walks, and 6 strikeouts. Has also hit a batter, and is, of course, in line for the win. As I suspected, he will stay in the ballgame and try to work himself out of this bases loaded, 1-out situation.
The shortstop, number 11, Caleb Rasty.
Caleb Rasty to bat for the Tigers. Tigers are everywhere. Coonrat, Rowe, and Phillips, 1st through 3rd, respectively. First pitch is fouled out of play. No balls and a strike. Tigers refusing to go away, making sure this one stays interesting down the stretch. Trying to put some runs across the board. A 1 pitch. That just misses. That's a ball. 1 ball, 1 strike. Just a touch high along that inside corner. 1 ball, 1 strike with 1 away. Here's the pitch. That's way inside. Nearly hit Rasty, and that would have scored a run. Nonetheless, it's just a ball. 2 balls and a strike. Rasty trying to put the Tigers on the board. Here's the 2-1. That one's hit high into the air. Not super deep, however, as Swartz is there, and the second baseman makes the play. And Rasty very disappointed in himself. Now 2 away. Bases are still loaded. That will bring up Shea Buskell for Cedar Falls. The catcher digs in. With the bases loaded, he's still the tying run as he digs in. Wells with the pitch. Fouls that one off, goes into the backstop. No balls and a strike. 94 pitches for Wells so far. 95 is coming up. As I said, only 110 permitted by the state. Here's the 0-1. That's well inside as well. Nearly hit Buskell. Just like the previous at-bat, a hit by pitch would score a run. 1 ball, 1 strike, 2 away, bases loaded here in the bottom of the 6th. 1-1 pitch. Chopped down the third base line, but foul. That's the second strike on Buskell. It's 1 ball and 2 strikes. Wells trying to keep his shutout going. Tigers are trying to say something about it. Runners everywhere, but 2 down on the 1-2 count for Shea Buskell. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Here's the pitch. Sent high into the air, but not very deep again. Again, Swartz is there on the infield, and he makes the catch, and that retires the side. So the bases loaded situation does not result in any runs for Cedar Falls. It's still 4-0 as we head to the 7th. Stay tuned. You're listening to Cedar Falls Baseball on 1650 The Fan. New pitcher into the ball game for Cedar Falls, as it will be Drew Grady, the junior, getting the ball in relief. Grady making his 11th appearance of the season. That is most appearances on the team. So far this year, he's worked 18 innings. He's 1-1. ERA is very respectable, 1.94, 19 strikeouts, and 11 walks. Grady was the third baseman. Logan Rowe, the left fielder, moves to third base, and the former pitcher Derek Woods will now play left field. Here's the final line for the starting pitcher Derek Woods. He went 6 innings, gave up 9 hits with 4 runs, 3 were earned, 3 walks, and 4 strikeouts. Woods was very good for 5 innings, and then had a rough 6th inning, and now plays left field as Grady comes in to pitch for the Tigers. Grady got the start at third base, but was not in the batting order, and that will continue to be true as he comes onto the mound. 3-4-5 in the order for Dubuque Dubuque Hempstead, as this will be Munson, then Swartz, and Tharp. First pitch is looked at for a strike. It is 0-1. I believe it'll be Schrader instead of Tharp, however, because Tharp previously ran for Schrader. I believe Schrader will take his own at-bat. That one's in there for a strike as well. Good start by Grady. No balls and 2 strikes. Grady, a right-handed pitcher. That pitch is looked at as well, and it's a called strike 3. Grady goes right at Munson, and we've got 1 away. That'll bring up Cole Swartz. He recorded the last 2 outs of the previous inning. And he digs in here. Top of the 7th. Tigers down to their final 3 outs, but trying to make sure that it's just a 4-run deficit when they take those final at-bats. First pitch misses. That's ball 1. Swartz is 0 for 2 so far today. Flew out to right, walked, and then popped out to shortstop in his first 3 trips to the plate. Here comes the 1-0. That's high, well out of the zone. 2 balls, no strikes. Swartz digs back in now. Here comes the pitch from Grady. That pitch misses as well. It's 3-0. Three balls, no strikes. As Grady goes into the windup, here's the pitch to Swartz. That's looked at, in there for a called strike. It's 3-1. Grady gets set for the 3-1. Here comes the pitch. That's looked at as well, and it's a called strike 2. After 3 straight balls, the count is full at 3-2. Here comes the payoff pitch to Swartz. Now it's weakly hit. Grady looks at it, and that's going to be an infield single. Coonrat couldn't get there. Kind of an awkwardly hit ball, very weak. Just to the left of the mound, or the right of the mound from my point of view, the left if you're Grady, and it results in an infield single.
1 out here in the 7th.
So Swartz is aboard, and as I suspected, it'll be Schrader digging in for Dubuque Hempstead. Grady with the pitch. Now it's chopped over to first base. Diving play cannot be made. Great effort by Phillips, but couldn't make the plays. That'll get into right field. And Swartz will take a couple of bags. He's all the way to third base, and good thing Grady was backing up and doing his job there as that one got away from the new third baseman row. But Grady was there, so Swartz will go no further than third. So that brings up Potts for the Mustangs. Runners on the corners. Schrader is at first, and Swartz is at third. Potts digs in from the left side. One away here in inning number 7. Here's the pitch. That one's driven a long ways out towards right field. Still going back at the wall, and it just barely stays in. Again, we see a ball just barely stay in the park. That will be an RBI double for Potts, and it is 5-0 here in Cedar Falls. The double hit a long way, and we're going to have no pinch runner. Potts will stay out there, and that brings up the pitcher, Lane Wells. Wells 1 for 3 so far today, a couple in scoring position. Here's the pitch. Checks his swing, and they're going to say he went. So that is a swing and a miss for strike 1. Potts on second, Schrader at third. 1 out for Dubuque Hempstead. Grady with the pitch. That one's driven a long way out to left. Woods is there, makes the catch, and that will score a run via the tag up as Schrader comes in to score. It's 6-0. Potts does not advance. He stays put at second, but Schrader does tag up and come in to score. Sacrifice fly on that play from Lane Wells. 6-0, Dubuque Hempstead. That brings up the third baseman, Anthony Houselog, for the Mustangs. Batting with 2 away here in the top of the 7th. Grady with the pitch. That one's looked at for a strike. Good spot by Grady, and it's no balls and a strike. Houselog 1 for 3 so far. His base hit came in his previous at-bat. Hit a hard grounder that found its way into left field. Here's the 0-1. That's in the dirt. Buskell throws down to second base. It's not quite in time. And it's a ball and a strike as Potts dives in safely. 2 down here in the top of the 7th. Tigers will have their last 3 outs in the bottom half of the inning. Here's the pitch. That misses the zone as well. 2 balls and a strike. Two balls, 1 strike to count for Anthony Houselog. 1 for 3 so far in the day. There's a runner at second here with 2 down in the top of the 7th. Grady comes set. And here's the pitch. That one's looked at. It just misses outside. That is ball 3. 3 balls and 1 strike is now the count. Grady trying to avoid losing him here. Three-one pitch. Now it's popped into the air. Rasty is going to move to his left, get there and make the play. And that retires a side, but not before a couple of insurance runs are added for Dubuque Hempstead. They lead it 6-0. Last call coming up for the Tigers. Stay tuned. You're listening to Cedar Falls Baseball on 1650 The Fan. Last call coming up for Cedar Falls here in the bottom of the 7th. Down to their final 3 outs and trailing this game 6-0. Lane Wells is still out there on the... He's going to try to finish out the complete game shutout. He's only got 13 pitches left to work with by my unofficial count. Derek Woods leads off for the Tigers. That first pitch is in the dirt for a ball. 6, 7, 8 in the order Woods will be followed by Strasburg and Anderson. Woods 0 for 2 so far. Flew out to center field and then grounded out to shortstop. Here comes the 1-0. That one's hit over to the left side. Diving effort not in time, and there's a base hit. Derek Woods leads off the inning with a ground ball that makes its way into left field. That's the second hit of the ball game in the first since inning number 1 for Cedar Falls. That brings up Logan Strasburg for the Tigers. Strasburg, the designated hitter, digs in here in the 7th. Runner on first, nobody out. Tigers trying to put some offense together here late in the game. That ball's low for a ball. 1-0 count. Strasburg 0 for 1 as that was pitch number 100 from Wells. Strasburg flew out to center and then he walked. That pitch misses high and inside. That's ball 2. 2-0 the count. Two balls, no strikes. Here comes the pitch. That's in there for a called strike. Just caught the inside portion of the zone. 2-1 count for Strasburg. Here's the 2-1. That one's hit high into the air, but it's well out of play for a foul ball. The count is even, 2 balls and 2 strikes. By my count, Wells is down to 7 pitches. Has a 2-2 count here. He wants to finish it out. Here comes the pitch. That one's a foul ball right back into the fence. Count stays put, 2-2. Cy Anderson is in the on-deck circle for the Tigers, and assuming we get there, Steinlage will be due up next. Here's the 2-2. That's outside. Count is full. Good eye from Strasburg, and it's 3-2. Strasburg trying to find a way on here. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Wells with the pitch. That's inside. Ball 4. Good eye by Strasburg. And the first 2 batters of the inning reach. And that brings up Cy Anderson. Anderson 0 for 2 so far in the ball game. As by my count, Wells down to 4 pitches. If he goes over 110, he may conclude the current at-bat. Anderson checks his swing, but they're going to say he went around. And that's strike 1. Anderson, as I said, 0 for 2. He was out at first on a drop third strike, and then he flew out to Booth out there in right field. Here's the 0-1. That's low in the dirt, ball 1. The ball and a strike is the count for the junior. Anderson, the starting right fielder for Cedar Falls, batting 8th. Bats with the couple on. That one's hit well. That's going to get into the outfield. The runner is being sent. Woods making his way home, and there will not be a throw. Tigers are on the board. Derek Woods comes in to score on the play, and Strasburg also advanced to third. That's an RBI for Cy Anderson. So the Tigers not going away quietly here in the 7th. As now Dubuque Wahlert head coach Jeffrey Rapp makes his way out there, and I assume we're going to see a new pitcher. Technically, Wells does have 1 pitch left. That will be it. And they're going to go to the dugout, as looks like it's going to be Kurt Saunders, I believe, taking the bump to try to finish it out. Kurt Saunders, so far this season, is making his 5th appearance on the bump. In 7 innings of work, he's 1-0. ERA is 2, 6 strikeouts, and 2 walks for the junior right-hander. Very impressive performance from Wells. He tried to go the distance, but pitch count is going to run out. He had also been struggling slightly here in this inning. And I believe it's just a 1-for-1 swap. Wells will leave the ball game, and for the first time today, Saunders will step onto the field. So here's the situation for Cedar Falls. They trail at 6-1. Anderson's at first. Strasburg is at third. Currently, it is Max Steinlage due to dig in for the Tigers. He is the 9th hitter in the order, and then the top of the order will be due up afterwards. Still nobody out here in the bottom of the 7th. Tigers trying to make some noise late in this one. Looking at the lines for both teams, Mustangs have scored 6 runs on 12 hits, no errors in this game. Tigers 1 run on 3 hits, 1 error. That run and 2 of the 3 hits coming here in the 7th. Everybody makes their way back to their positions, and as I thought, no changes in the field. The defensive lineup for the Mustangs is exactly the same, except for the new pitcher, Kurt Saunders. Appearance number 5 this season for Kurt Saunders, and he'll try to finish this ball game. Max Steinlage digs in for the Tigers, and then it's back to the top of the order. Steinlage batting from the left side. Saunders with his first pitch. That's outside, and that's a ball. Steinlage 0 for 1 in this contest. He walked, and then he struck out looking, and his first 2 trips up to the plate. Here's the 1-0. Swing and a miss. There's strike 1, excuse me. Counts a ball and a strike for Max Steinlage. Steinlage digs back in. One ball and 1 strike. Here comes the pitch from Saunders. That one misses. Count is 2 balls and a strike. Good patience there from Steinlage, and he's ahead 2-1. Here's the 2-1. That one's fouled back. Count is even. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Steinlage steps out as Saunders takes the bump. 2-2 count. Saunders comes set. Now here comes the pitch. That one's looked at and misses outside, and that's ball 3. Count is full. It is 3 balls and 2 strikes for Max Steinlage. Nobody out. Runners in the corners. Here in the bottom of the 7th. Tigers down to their last 3 outs, trailing at 6-1. Here's the payoff pitch. That one's low. That's ball 4, and the bases are loaded for Cedar Falls. And they go back to the top of the order. Tigers refusing to go away. Ben Phillips digs in for Cedar Falls. Tigers are everywhere here. Still nobody out. Phillips batting from the left side. Swings to the first one, swing and a miss for strike 1. Phillips 0 for 2 so far today. Grounded out to second. Went down looking and then was hit by a pitch. Here comes the 0-1. That one's low and inside. That's a ball. 1 ball and 1 strike to count for Phillips. Phillips entered play today as the leading hitter for average on this team and for power. .434 average, 6 home runs. Here's the 1-1. Now it's hit high into the air towards the left side. I believe it'll stay in. And the catch is made. What a catch. But that will score a run as Strasburg tags up. Wisely does so as the third baseman Houselog had to contort his body to make that grab and was in no position to throw out Strasburg. So the Tigers get another one. It's 6-2. So now there is one away. Tigers are within 4. Steinlage and Anderson remained at first and second respectively. This brings in Logan Rowe. Rowe is 1 for 2 so far today. He singled to center, flew out to right, and then drew a walk. Mustangs head coach Jeffrey Rapp having a conversation with the home plate umpire. Home plate umpire explaining the situation, and now Coach Rapp will head back to the dugout. We're set to go here with 1 away, runners on first and second. Tigers trailing it by 4 in the 7th. Saunders takes a look. Now he comes set. Here's the pitch to Rowe. It was looked at, it's in there for a called strike. No balls, one strike on the sophomore Logan Rowe. Began the game in left field. Now bats as the third baseman. Saunders making his first appearance of the day, including game one. Did not play at all in the first game. That pitch misses low. Count is even. It's the ball and a strike. Saunders has been used sparingly this season by the Mustangs, but they're calling on him in a spot that is continuously becoming bigger and bigger in this ball game. Here's the 1-1. That one's chopped back in the middle infield, and that's going to be a double play. It's held onto by the first baseman, Schrader, and that ends the ball game. Swartz fields, steps on second base, makes a throw over to first, and that retires the side and ends the game. Our final score, Dubuque Hempstead 6 and Cedar Falls 2. We'll add up all the numbers, get you the final lines, and give you everything you need to know before we sign off here tonight after this break. Stay tuned for the post-game show coming up. You're listening to Cedar Falls Baseball on 1650 The Fan. Welcome to the Cedar Falls Baseball post-game show here on 1650 The Fan. I'm David Warrington, and it's a split here tonight between Dubuque Hempstead and Cedar Falls. Tigers took game one 5-1, but the Mustangs come back and take game two by a final of 6-2. Here's the final line scores for both teams. First for the victorious Mustangs. They score 6 runs on 12 hits, no errors. They left 8 runners on base. The Tigers scored 2 runs on 3 hits, 1 error. They left 6 runners on base. Winning pitcher of record is going to be Lane Wells. The Dubuque Hempstead starter went 6 innings, allowed 3 hits with 2 runs, 2 earned, 5 walks, and 6 strikeouts. He improves his record to 5-1. Kurt Saunders came in and got the final 3 outs for the Mustangs. Did not give up a hit, did give up 1 walk, and he closed it out for the Mustangs. For Cedar Falls, Derek Woods takes the loss. He went 6 innings, gave up 9 hits, 4 runs, 3 earned, and 4 strikeouts. His record on the year falls to 0-2. Recording the final 3 outs in this contest for the Tigers was Drew Grady. The junior gave up 3 hits with 2 runs. Both were earned, and 1 strikeout for Grady. Looking at extra base hits, there were a handful for Dubuque Hempstead. Wells and Potts both had doubles, and Strohmeyer, when the game was scoreless, had that triple, and later came around to score. And for Cedar Falls, it was just 2 hits in the contest, is now being joined by Cedar Falls head coach Brett Williams. Coach, thank you so much for joining me here. Very interesting contests we had here tonight. Game one, you came out ready to go, got that 5-1 win. What did that have to say about your team in that game one?
Yeah, we just battled all night long in that game, and we pitched really well and made great plays behind our pitcher. And that's what we ask our pitchers every time: give us a chance to play defense, and we did. We played great defense in that game, and Shay's been our guy, and he carried us tonight in that first game pitching.
Buskell had a great start in that game one. Derek Woods got the game two start. He was very good for about 5 innings, but not much production behind him. What did you think about his start?
Yeah, Derek was awesome in his second start. And, here's the thing is in that, was it the 5th inning where they scratched a couple here or there. And, that's a really good offensive team. If you looked at the numbers, you would be really surprised that the games were 6-2 and 5-1. This 2 of the better offensive teams in the conference. And, Wells just pitched really well. And it was a pitcher's duel for a while. And, they made some adjustments at the plate. We didn't make the same adjustments, and that's just the way it goes.
They're down 6-0 in the 7th. Your guys really didn't give up. They fought all the way to the end. Is that something you've seen from your team all year?
Yeah, we do battle, and it was interesting when I looked. I counted kind of the hitters, and I was like, man, we're going to come rolling up to the top of our lineup that have hit really well all year. And sure enough, we load the bases up there, and you kind of look and see who's coming up, and and they brought a young kid in to close it out, and kudos to those guys. They pitched well, and we missed the barrel tonight.
And somehow, Coach, we're already in July. Regular season is in its final week. Postseason just around the corner. Taking a look at your postseason bracket, what have you thought about that so far?
Yeah, we thought maybe at some point we were going to be the 1 seed, but now we're the 2, and we're hosting home games as long as we win until the finals. And that's something we haven't done in a while, and that was one of the goals we had at the year. And, ultimately that goal is to make it to Iowa City. And, we feel good about it. This Hempstead team went to Pleasant Valley or Pleasant Valley. They played and won 2 against them. And so, that doesn't always mean a lot, but it gives us some confidence to say, hey, we can battle. And if, we pitch well in a night, we're going to give ourselves a really good chance.
Coach, thanks so much for your time. I appreciate you coming up and joining us here. Head coach Brett Williams of the Cedar Falls Tigers joins us here on the post-game show. We're going to take one more break here tonight, and when we come back, we'll wrap everything up and give you the final numbers here from Cedar Falls. Stay tuned. You're listening to the Cedar Falls Baseball post-game show on 1650 The Fan. Final time to the Cedar Falls Baseball post-game show here on 1650 The Fan. 6-2 final score in this ball game. Dubuque Hempstead takes down Cedar Falls. It was a 5-1 victory in Game 1 for the Tigers. So the two-team split. Tigers 24-10, and same can be said for the Mustangs of Dubuque Hempstead. Quickly looking at the score by inning in this game, we were scoreless until the 5th. Mustangs put up 1 in that inning, and then they added 3 more in the top of the 6th to make it 4-0. 2 more in the 7th made it 6-0. Tigers didn't go away, however. They put up 2 in the bottom of the 7th, and that's how we get to our final score of 6-2. One more time, final line score. Dubuque Hempstead scores 6 runs on 12 hits, no errors. Cedar Falls, 2 runs on 3 hits, 1 error. Both teams now 24-10, and as I touched on in that interview with Coach Williams just a moment ago, we are really getting down to the wire in the regular season. And senior night coming up for the Cedar Falls before too long, and then it will be time for postseason baseball. So once we get that schedule figured out and we figure out what games we'll be covering, we'll have all that information for you on the broadcast calendar at the 1650 The Fan website. Just go to 1650thefan.com, probably sometime around middle of next week, and we will have everything there. Also check the 1650 Twitter, of course. I'm on Twitter at DWAR1314. That's DWARR1314. Be sure to keep everybody updated on what's going on as we get set to broadcast some postseason games right here on the Fans. That's going to do it for tonight. One more time, it's a split from Cedar Falls. Tigers take game 1 5-1. Mustangs take the nightcap by a final of 6-2. For my producer, Angie Sturm, I'm David Warrington saying good night from Cedar Falls.